You've checked your luggage. You've passed through security. Now, you're sitting in a cramped metal tube, 30,000 feet above the ground. The door is locked. There is no exit anymore. You are officially at the mercy of physics and a stranger in the cockpit. Suddenly, the plane rattles. A small bump. To the guy next to you, it's just air turbulence. To you, it's the sound of the world ending. Your brain, evolved to run on solid ground, starts screaming that something is fundamentally wrong. This is the control paradox. We feel safe driving a car because our hands are on the wheel, even though the road is a chaotic mess of human error. But in a plane, you are a passive observer in your own potential disaster. Every mechanical groan, every flicker of the reading light, your mind magnifies it. You start searching for clues in the flight attendants' faces. If they aren't smiling, you assume the engine is on fire. You've become a professional detective of doom. Why is it so hard to believe the statistics? Because statistics don't have emotions. A 1 in 11 million chance feels meaningless when you're looking out the window at a wing that seems to be vibrating just a little too much. We are victims of availability heuristic. We remember the fiery headlines, the dramatic movies, and the black boxes. We don't remember the 4 billion people who landed safely last year, because landing safely isn't news. It's boring. Fear isn't about facts. It's about imagination. You aren't afraid of the plane, you're afraid of the what if. What if a bird hits the engine? What if the pilot had a bad night? What if I'm the unlucky one in those 11 million? Your body reacts as if you're being hunted by a predator. Adrenaline floods your system. Your heart races. But there's nowhere to run. You are trapped in a high-altitude waiting room for a disaster that almost never comes. This sensory overload is a gift from our ancestors. It kept them alive in the jungle, but it's a nightmare in a pressurized cabin. To fix this, we have to look at the cold, hard machinery of safety. We have to look at why the plane refuses to fall. Before we count the numbers, we need to understand the architecture of the miracle. To stop being a victim of your own mind, you need to see the blueprints of how we conquered the sky. Let's look at the math of survival. Let's talk about the cold, hard numbers. You're more likely to die from a bee sting, a lightning strike, or even falling out of your own bed than in a plane crash. In fact, driving to the airport is the most dangerous part of your entire journey. The statistics are on your side, but your brain is a terrible mathematician. Why is it so safe? Because aviation is built on the rule of redundancy. Everything important has a backup, and that backup has its own backup. If an engine fails, the plane doesn't drop like a stone. It's designed to fly perfectly fine with just one. It's a machine that refuses to give up. What if both engines fail? This is the ultimate nightmare. But even then, physics is your friend. A plane at 30,000 feet is as a massive glider. It doesn't plummet, it slides through the air. You can glide for nearly 100 miles without any power. The sky isn't empty space. It's a fluid that supports you. The people in control are not just drivers. Pilots spend thousands of hours in simulators, practicing for disasters that will likely never happen. They are trained to handle engine fires, total electrical failure, and extreme weather until it becomes muscle memory. They aren't hoping for the best, they are executing a program. Turbulence feels like the plane is breaking apart, but to the engineers, it's nothing. Airplane wings are like giant springs. They can flex upwards of 20 feet without snapping. A plane is built to withstand forces far greater than any storm can throw at it. It's not a fragile bird, it's a flying tank. Every single bolt, every wire, and every sensor is tracked. Parts are replaced not when they break, but long before they even have a chance to wear out. Your car might have a check engine light you've ignored for weeks. But a plane isn't allowed to leave the gate with even a minor uncertainty. In the sky, you are never alone. Air traffic control is a global net of eyes watching every second of your flight. There are invisible highways in the air, keeping planes miles apart from each other. The system is designed to remove human error from the equation entirely. It's a synchronized dance of data. Every crash in history has made the next flight safer. Aviation is the only industry that learns from its mistakes with brutal honesty. The black box isn't just a recording, it's a lesson. Every incident leads to new regulations, new technology, and new training. You are flying on the safest version of a plane that has ever existed. Physics doesn't care about your fear. Lift is a physical force, as real as gravity. As long as air moves over the wings, the plane is supported. To fall out of the sky, the laws of the universe would have to stop working. The air beneath you isn't nothing at high speeds. It's as solid as a paved road. The machine is perfect, the training is rigorous, and the math is absolute. So why does your heart still race when the fasten seatbelt sign dings? Because logic is a weak shield against a million years of survival instinct. We've conquered the sky, but we haven't conquered the ancient animal inside our heads. The safety we enjoy today wasn't built in a lab. It was written in the wreckage of the past. Every time a plane went down in the 20th century, the world stopped to listen to the black box. Aviation is the only industry that views every tragedy as a textbook for the future. Because of this, major accidents have become incredibly rare. The lessons learned from a single crash decades ago are still applied to every flight today. It's a collective intelligence that never forgets. The mistake that happened in 1974 will never be allowed to happen again in 2026. We often fear human error, but in a modern cockpit, the pilot is supported by layers of automation and cross-checking. It's a culture of healthy suspicion. The co-pilot is trained to challenge the captain if something looks wrong. Hierarchy is sacrificed for the sake of safety. And what about the weather? We fear lightning, but a plane is a Faraday cage. The electricity flows over the aluminum skin and exits through the tail, leaving the passengers inside completely untouched. Lightning strikes planes more often than you think, and usually, no one even notices. Even bird strikes are accounted for. Engines are tested by literally firing dead chickens into them at high speeds to ensure they can swallow the impact without exploding. Your safety isn't based on luck. It's based on the fact that engineers have already imagined your worst nightmare and built a shield against it. The air you breathe is also cleaner than in most office buildings. It's recycled through HEPA filters every few minutes, removing 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. The cabin isn't just a container. It's a high-tech life support system designed to keep you optimal at altitudes where humans shouldn't survive. So why do we still grip the armrests? Because our brains are wired to prioritize vivid, scary stories over dry, reassuring data. We are the descendants of the cavemen who were afraid of the shadows, not the ones who counted the stars. Our biology hasn't caught up with our technology. This is the fear of the unknown. We don't understand how a 400-ton machine stays in the air, so we assume it's fragile. But gravity is a constant, and lift is its equal partner. As long as those engines hum, the air is as solid as concrete. The plane wants to stay up. The system is so robust that it takes a Swiss cheese chain of multiple, nearly impossible failures to cause an accident. One hole is never enough. You need 10 holes to align perfectly for disaster to strike. And the industry spends every day trying to plug those holes. You aren't betting your life on luck. You are betting it on the most scrutinized, tested, and regulated transportation system in human history. To overcome the fear, you don't need courage. Let's look closer at the reality of the sky. Even after seeing the math, your mind whispers, what if? What if the engines stop? What if the cabin depressurizes? What if we have to land on water? The truth is, engineers have already answered those questions with a plan. You are sitting inside a 400-ton life jacket. Let's talk about the impossible. If both engines fail, the cabin doesn't just go dark. A hidden propeller called a ram air turbine drops from the belly of the plane. It spins in the wind like a pinwheel, providing enough electricity and hydraulic power to keep the pilot in control. And if the air gets thin? Those yellow masks drop in less than a second. They aren't connected to tanks. They use a chemical reaction to create fresh oxygen right above your head. You don't need the pilot to dive instantly. You have enough air to sit back and wait for the plane to reach a safer altitude. But what about the impact? Modern airplane seats are designed to withstand 16 times the force of gravity. They are energy absorbers. They are built to deform and soak up the kinetic energy of a crash, so your body doesn't have to. The chair is literally a shield for your spine. The brace position isn't just to keep you calm. It's a calculated posture to minimize flailing and protect your vital organs. It's a physical blueprint for survival. People who follow the instructions have a statistically massive advantage. Survival isn't a roll of the dice. It's a series of actions. If there is fire, you have 90 seconds. That is the global gold standard. Every plane must be able to be completely evacuated in a minute and a half, even with half the exits blocked. The materials inside, the carpets, the seat covers, are all fire retardant. What about landing on water? A modern fuselage is a buoyant boat. It can float for hours if the doors remain closed. The slides you use to escape? They double as life rafts, equipped with canopies and survival kits. Every piece of the plane has a second job, saving your life. You might think crashes are always fatal. They aren't. Over 95% of passengers involved in aviation accidents survive. The headlines focus on the rare total losses, but the reality is a story of incredible engineering bringing people home from the brink. The reason you are afraid is that you feel small against the sky. But the sky is where we've done our best work. We've turned an environment where we shouldn't exist into the safest place on the planet. Your fear is a ghost of a world that no longer exists. The blueprint for your safety is etched into every bolt and wire of this machine. You aren't floating on luck. You are sitting on a mountain of data and thousands of lives worth of lessons. Now, let's talk about how to finally silence the animal in your brain. The plane is safe. The math is solid, but your heart is still pounding. Why? Because you are fighting a million years of evolution that says humans belong on the ground. To conquer the fear, you don't need to fight your feelings. You need to re-educate your instincts. The first step is knowledge as a shield. When you hear a noise, identify it. That thump after takeoff? That's just the landing gear retracting. That hiss? It's the air conditioning system. Mystery is the fuel of fear. Understanding is the fire extinguisher. Watch the flight attendants. They are your emotional barometers. They do this every day, thousands of times a year. If they are calmly serving coffee while the plane shakes, it means the plane is doing exactly what it was built to do. Their boredom is your safety. Try the opposite hand trick. When turbulence hits, try writing your name with your non-dominant hand. It forces your brain to switch from the emotional amygdala to the logical cortex. You can't be terrified and focused on penmanship at the same time. Breathing is your manual override. When you're scared, you take short, shallow breaths, telling your brain you're in danger. Slow it down. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. You are literally hacking your nervous system to stay calm. Avoid the doom scroll. Searching for plane crash videos before a flight is like looking for sharks before going for a swim. It creates a false reality. Instead, look at the arrival gate. Visualize the hug, the taxi ride, and the destination. The flight is just the hallway to your real life. Remember, the world is safer than it has ever been. We live in an era where the most dangerous part of your international vacation is the sunburn. The engineers, the pilots, and the laws of physics have built a fortress around you. The fear might never fully disappear, and that's okay. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the ability to act while feeling it. Every time you board a plane, you are proving that your human desire to explore is stronger than your animal instinct to hide. We have conquered the sky, not by magic, but by a relentless commitment to learning from our mistakes. Your safety is a legacy of millions of flight hours and 1 trillion lines of data. Trust the blueprint. Trust the air. It's holding you up. I'm Abel. The next time the engines roar and the world drops away, remember, you are sitting on the safest seat in human history. The sky isn't a threat. It's a bridge. Look out the window and enjoy the view. Okay then, safe flight.